The most famous survival guide from the Black Death contains zero medical advice and zero prayers. Instead, it is a pandemic lockdown manual built out of 100 highly scandalous comedies. You probably assume medieval people responded to the deadliest apocalypse in history exclusively with religious terror. But the true story of how humanity survived the 14th century involves 10 wealthy nobles hiding in a mansion and surviving by telling dirty jokes. To understand this bizarre reaction, you have to look at the absolute horror of 1348. When the plague struck Florence, it did not just kill 100,000 people, it shattered the fabric of human society. Giovanni Boccaccio survived this outbreak and documented the terrifying breakdown of civic and divine law. Police stopped patrolling, priests stopped praying. The city was consumed by anarchy because the sheer scale of death made laws meaningless. But the most unbearable detail Boccaccio recorded was the destruction of the family. The terror of this invisible killer was so severe that brothers abandoned brothers to die alone. Worst of all, terrified parents actively refused to nurse their own sick children. Under the crushing weight of the apocalypse, pure survival instinct erased basic human love. The psychological trauma was suffocating, so those with money decided to just walk away. Boccaccio captures this flight through a famous framing story. 7 young women and 3 young men secretly meet inside the deserted church of Santa Maria Novella. They agree that staying inside Florence guarantees death or madness, so they pack up their servants, flee into the isolated Tuscan hills, and lock themselves inside a lavish countryside villa to wait out the end of the world. But a beautiful prison is still a prison. Once locked inside quarantine, they had to figure out how to maintain their sanity. Their solution was a strict daily routine. To keep the panic from taking over, they forced each other to tell one story every single day. This strict lockdown ritual produced a massive collection of 100 tales. Today, we know this masterpiece as the Decameron. But here is the massive twist. Surrounded by the deadliest mass casualty event in human history, these characters completely ignored God's wrath. They did not tell solemn stories about eternal salvation. Instead, they told stories about clever merchants pulling off elaborate scams. They gossiped about foolish priests and detailed entirely scandalous romances. They used pure, unfiltered comedy to aggressively block out the nightmare happening just beyond their walls. Boccaccio's Decameron forever shifted European literature away from rigid religious epics. He focused on the messy, hilarious, and flawed reality of everyday human life. It stands as the ultimate historical proof of human resilience. When faced with the absolute darkest era in history, people did not just survive through medicine or faith, they survived through pure escapism, shared laughter, and the enduring power of storytelling.